He took my fiancé's money, ghosted me for 5 months, then said that behind my back. Picture this. You wake up early, get yourself ready, drive to someone's shop, and 15 minutes before you walk through the door you get a text saying they are not coming in. And then silence. Complete silence. Not an apology, not a rescheduled time, not even the basic human decency of a reply to tell you what is going on. Just nothing. And this is not some stranger off the internet. This is your fiancé's best friend. Someone you have trusted for a decade. Someone who has put ink on your body before, who has held a needle over your skin and you let him because you trusted him completely. Someone whose shop you have probably recommended to other people, whose name you have probably dropped in conversations the way you do when you genuinely respect someone's craft. Someone you have probably sat across from at birthday dinners and holiday gatherings and casual Sunday hangs, treating him the way you treat family because that is what he was supposed to be. The disrespect in this situation is not just unprofessional. It is a betrayal dressed up as inconvenience. It is deeply personal, and I think everyone involved knows exactly why. Let me take you back to where this whole thing started, because the context here matters a lot. The original poster and her partner have been together for 10 years, with a brief breakup somewhere in the middle in 2025 before getting back together before the holidays. Now the best friend in this story has been around for all of it. He grew up with her fiancé. They are basically brothers. He has been at the dinners, the hangouts, the milestones. He has been a presence in the background of this whole relationship, watching it grow, watching it stumble, watching it recover. And he has been the tattoo artist for both of them for the entire duration of their relationship. So this is not a stranger or a new person in the picture. This is someone embedded in the very fabric of their life as a couple. Someone who, on paper, should want good things for them both. Her fiancé bought her a gift certificate to his best friend's tattoo shop as a Christmas present. It was a Christmas deal, $300 worth of tattoo work for $250. She got it Christmas morning, and honestly that is a sweet, thoughtful gift. It shows her partner wanted to do something meaningful for her and support his friend's business at the same time. You can picture it easily enough. The gift certificate sitting under the tree, her opening it, her fiancé smiling, genuinely proud of himself for landing on something she would love. It is the kind of present that comes from a place of warmth and care. She messaged the best friend about a week later, totally reasonable timing, not desperate or pushy, just trying to get herself on the books so she could start looking forward to the appointment. And he never wrote back. Now here is where you have to pay close attention to the timeline, because it tells a very specific story. After the first message goes unanswered, her fiancé actually goes in to get his own neck tattoo finished. A date that was set before Christmas. And while he is there, face to face with his best friend, needles buzzing, probably chatting about the usual things the way old friends do, he brings up the unanswered message. He vouches for her. He takes the time out of his own appointment to smooth the path for her, to remind his best friend that this is important and that she is waiting. His friend looks him in the eye and says he will get back to her. He shakes his hand or slaps his shoulder or does whatever they do when they say goodbye. And then he goes home and never follows through. He never does. So she messages again. 2 or 3 more times, giving him the benefit of the doubt, assuming he is just slammed with work. And he might have been, right? Tattoo artists get busy. Shops fill up, especially after the holidays when everyone is spending their gift certificates and booking into the new year. You want to believe people are just overwhelmed and not actively ignoring you. You run through the charitable explanations because it is easier than sitting with the alternative. Except here is the thing that blew that excuse wide open. Their mutual friends were posting on social media. Fresh tattoos, tagged locations, tagged artists, pictures of the shop, hype posts about upcoming appointments. He was booking people. He was doing tattoos. He was showing up for customers and apparently enjoying his work. He just was not doing hers. That is not a scheduling problem. That is a choice. She finally sends a direct message in late April, and this time she is firm. She tells him he needs to at least get her on the books, not urgently, just at some point, just something to acknowledge she exists as a client and as a person connected to his best friend. You can feel the restraint in that kind of message. The careful, measured tone of someone who has been patient far longer than most people would manage and is now asking for the bare minimum. Still nothing. Her fiancé has to physically call him before they get any kind of response at all, and even then the response is not exactly warm. He says, quote, "Tell her I can fit her in tomorrow if she wants." Tell her. Not, "Let me reach out to her directly and apologize for the months of silence." Not, "I am sorry, here are some times that work." Tell her. Like she is a message to be passed along and not a human being he has a financial obligation to. That word choice is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It places her firmly outside the circle of people he feels he owes direct communication. She cannot make it tomorrow because she has work and cannot get time off that quickly. So they do the whole back and forth with schedules, and she goes the extra mile and actually requests time off from her job specifically to accommodate the date he said worked for him. Think about that for a second. She used her limited paid time off. She sat in front of her manager or filled out a form or however her workplace handles it, and she gave up a workday to make this appointment happen. May 9th, 11 in the morning. She gets up, she gets ready, she probably does all the little things you do before a tattoo appointment, thinking through placement and size, maybe feeling a flicker of excitement about finally getting this done. She drives to the shop. And 15 minutes before she is supposed to walk in, he texts saying he cannot make it and suggests the next day. A day she already told him she works. And then when she responds explaining that, he goes quiet again. No reply. She reaches out 5 more times, all respectful, all reasonable, and the wall of silence just holds. I need to pause here and say something. 5 times. Respectfully. After he stood her up. Most people would have lit that phone up with something far less polite after message 2. But then comes the moment that changes everything, because up until this point you could maybe, with a lot of generosity, frame this as someone being flaky or disorganized. Not great, not excusable, but at least not malicious. Just a guy who is bad at communication and worse at follow-through. Then her best friend gets a tattoo done at his shop. Her own best friend, sitting in his chair, getting fresh ink, having the kind of easy conversation that fills the hours of a long session. And the best friend, being a good friend, brings up the obvious elephant in the room and asks why he has not gotten the original poster in yet. His answer? The words that are not printable here, followed by a quote-unquote "just kidding." The best friend is confused because that response makes no sense in any professional or personal context. It is the kind of thing someone says when a real feeling slips out before their filter kicks in. She tells the original poster what happened. And suddenly everything clicks into place. This man has been holding a grudge. And the grudge almost certainly comes from the breakup that happened in 2025. Even though the couple got back together. Even though things between all of them on the surface seemed fine. Even though no big dramatic falling out had taken place, no confrontation, no sides chosen out loud. This best friend made a quiet decision all on his own that he did not want to serve her. That he did not think she deserved his time or his professionalism or even a basic reply. He appointed himself judge of their relationship, decided she had done something unforgivable by briefly leaving, and then carried that verdict silently into every interaction. There was probably a part of him that even felt righteous about it, that felt like he was protecting his friend by making her inconvenient life just a little more inconvenient. And he was fine watching her jump through every hoop, use up a day of her paid time off, wake up early, drive to his shop, and sit in her car while he texted her a casual cancellation. He was fine with all of that. He let her absorb the inconvenience and the confusion while he sat comfortable in his grievance. And somehow that feels worse than if he had just said something to her face. At least that would have been honest. At least that would have been something she could respond to. The part that stings beyond the professional failure is what this says about how he sees her in the context of their larger friendship group. She is engaged to his best friend. They have known each other for a decade. She has sat in his chair before, trusted him with something permanent on her skin, made small talk while the needle moved, maybe even tipped him well and told her friends he was talented. She was never a stranger. She was never someone on the outside looking in. And he has decided that whatever loyalty he feels to his friend or whatever unspoken judgment he has made about her is worth more than basic human decency. He did not pull her aside and say he had concerns. He did not tell his best friend he felt uncomfortable doing the tattoo. He just pocketed the money, sold the gift certificate, and then quietly opted out of the whole arrangement while letting her believe she was just being patient. He was never going to do it. He just was not going to say so. The money itself, $250, is not a trivial amount. That is real money. That is someone's grocery bill, or a car payment, or a handful of bills that matter at the end of the month. A Christmas gift purchased in good faith, with genuine warmth behind it, for a service that was never delivered. The fiancé did not hand over that money to create a problem. He handed it over because he trusted his best friend to treat the woman he loves with the same basic respect he would show any paying client. That trust was exploited. If this were any other business, any other vendor, any other professional in the world, there would be zero question about whether asking for a refund is reasonable. The product was paid for and never received. The appointment was made, confirmed, and then cancelled by the service provider with no alternative ever honored. In any normal commercial context, this is an open and shut case. The social layer around it does not change the financial reality underneath. The fact that asking for the money back feels uncomfortable or like she might be causing drama says everything about the social dynamics at play here and nothing about whether it is the right thing to do. That discomfort is a trap. It is the same trap that kept her sending polite message after polite message for 5 months instead of demanding answers. The situation has been engineered, whether consciously or not, so that she is the one who looks difficult if she pushes back. She is not the one who made this uncomfortable. She sent respectful messages for 5 months. She took time off work. She showed up. He is the one who turned a simple tattoo appointment into a months-long test of her patience, and then revealed behind her back that his feelings about her were never professional to begin with. The discomfort belongs to him. She should not have to carry it. Here is where I land on this, and I am not going to soften it. She is not the problem in this situation. Not even slightly. She handled every single step of this with more grace and patience than most people would have managed, reaching out calmly, adjusting her schedule, showing up on time, and still finding it in herself to send a polite follow-up after being left standing in a parking lot. That is remarkable self-control. The reward for that grace was being stood up, ignored, and then verbally dismissed to her own best friend. She gave this man every opportunity to be professional and he chose, repeatedly, not to be. The friendship between him and her fiancé is its own thing and she should not have to carry the weight of managing that. But her money? Her time? Her dignity? Those things belong to her and she has every right to reclaim them. Asking for that money back is not drama. It is not petty. It is not being an AH. It is the only logical response left after 5 months of being strung along by someone who was never going to honor the arrangement. He does not get to ghost someone for half a year, stand them up on a confirmed appointment, and then face zero consequences because the money is tangled up in a friendship. That is not how this works. If he responds poorly to that request, or if the fiancé feels caught in the middle, that is a conversation worth having openly because this best friend has just shown who he is. And the fiancé needs to see it clearly. She should send that message. She should ask for the full amount back. And if he ignores that too, she should know exactly what kind of person is standing next to her fiancé at important moments in their life. She called me crying begging me not to do it, but our son deserves better than excuses. 9:24 p.m. Claude respondio, she called him crying, she called him crying. Not to check in on their son, not to ask how things were going, not even to make a plan. She called specifically to beg him not to pursue child support, and her entire argument was that she has no money and does not work. Let that sit for a second, because the person who is supposed to be helping raise a child just made that child's needs secondary to her own financial comfort. This story is short, but it does not need to be long to hit hard. The original poster is a single dad who has been raising his 10-year-old son entirely on his own. His ex-girlfriend lives with her parents several states away and is not currently employed. He went ahead and filed for child support through his state. She received the notice, and she immediately picked up the phone. Not to talk about their son. To talk about herself. Let me be really clear about what child support actually is, because sometimes the framing around it gets twisted in ways that benefit the wrong people. Child support is not a punishment for the paying parent. It is not revenge or spite or a way to cause trouble. It is a legal and moral recognition that two people created a child together, and both of those people carry a financial responsibility to that child regardless of their current relationship with each other. When one parent is raising that child full-time, covering every single expense, handling every school morning and every sick day and every grocery run and every bill, the other parent does not get a free pass just because they moved away or because they are not working right now. The dad in this story wakes up every single day and makes sure his son is fed, dressed, at school on time, and cared for when he gets home. He does not get a day off from that. He does not get a weekend where somebody else takes over and he gets to rest. It is every day, without relief and without a partner splitting the weight. She says she has no money and does not work. And that is genuinely a difficult situation for a person to be in. Nobody is pretending that being broke is fun or that the timing of a child support case is convenient. But here is what is interesting about that argument. She is currently living with her parents. She has a roof over her head, food, utilities, all of it covered by other people who are supporting her. Her son does not have that same cushion. Her son has one parent doing everything, in a different state, presumably juggling work and childcare and everything else that comes with being a single full-time parent. She gets to sleep in a home that costs her nothing while her son's father figures out how to stretch his income across every single thing a growing child needs. School supplies. Clothes that fit because kids grow constantly. Doctor visits. Food. The occasional thing that makes a kid feel like a kid and not just a financial burden to be managed. If she has no money and does not work, the child support calculation will reflect that. Courts do not pull numbers out of thin air. They look at income, they look at earning potential, they look at circumstances. If she is truly in a difficult financial position, the amount assessed may be very small, or it may be structured in a way that accounts for her current situation. But the process existing is not the injustice here. The process existing means that if and when she does start earning money, her son benefits from it. That is what the system is designed to do. It is not designed to drain a struggling person dry. It is designed to make sure a child has a legal claim to support from both people who brought him into the world. Those are very different things, and conflating them is exactly what she was counting on when she picked up that phone. The phone call itself is what really reveals the mindset here. She did not call to problem solve. She did not call to ask what her son needs right now or how she could help in ways that do not involve money. She called to lobby against a legal process that was put in motion specifically because a child deserves support from both parents. Picture that call for a moment. The dad picks up and instead of hearing anything about how their son is doing, whether he needs anything, whether there is any way she can be more present or more involved, he hears crying. He hears a woman making herself the center of a conversation that was never supposed to be about her. The tears were not for her son. They were a tool, deployed deliberately to make a tired single father feel like the villain for doing the most basic, responsible thing he could do. The goal of that call was not her son. The goal was to make the dad feel guilty enough to back off. And the fact that the original poster is second-guessing himself enough to post about it online tells me the call at least partially worked, which is exactly why it is worth unpacking. I am just going to say it. She moved states away, she is not working, and she is not raising her own child. And her response to being asked to contribute financially is to plead poverty while living under her parents' roof. The audacity of that is something else. Child support is not optional just because a parent finds it inconvenient. It is a legal obligation that exists because children are not capable of advocating for their own financial needs. A 10-year-old cannot go to court and say, "Hey, I need both my parents to contribute to my life." That is why the law does it for him. The dad filing is not a hostile act. It is the most responsible thing he can do for his son, because it creates a legal framework that protects that kid going forward regardless of how the parents feel about each other. And it matters that this framework exists in writing, on record, enforceable. Because feelings change. Circumstances change. A verbal agreement or a gentleman's handshake dissolves the moment one person decides it is no longer convenient. A court order does not. There is also a longer-term consideration here that is worth naming directly. Kids grow up. They notice things. They ask questions. One day this 10-year-old is going to be old enough to understand the full picture of his situation, old enough to see who showed up and who did not. He is going to look back and piece together what his childhood actually looked like, who was there in the morning and who was there at night and who made sure there was food in the house and who was hundreds of miles away living rent-free while somebody else handled all of it. The financial record that gets established through child support is not just about money right now. It is about documentation, accountability, and a legal acknowledgement that both parents were given the chance to step up. Whether she takes that chance seriously is her choice. But giving her the chance is the right thing to do. This man has nothing to feel guilty about. He is doing the right thing by his son, full stop. The tears on the phone and the claims of having no money are not reasons to abandon a legal process designed to protect a child. They are reasons to let the court do exactly what it is there to do, assess the situation fairly and put something in place that serves the kid, not the parent's comfort level. He does not owe her an easy way out. He does not owe her the relief of pretending this situation is fine or that his son's needs can keep going unaddressed out of politeness. The discomfort she felt receiving that legal notice is far smaller than the weight her son's father carries every single day. His son is 10 years old. He deserves both parents pulling their weight, even if one of them needs a court order to make it happen. Drop a comment below and tell me which story hit harder for you, because I genuinely cannot decide. If this one got you, leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next one.